It was deep into the night, and just as I was beginning to drift into sleep, I felt someone fumbling with my clothes. My eyes flew open, and there he was, the pastor, half naked, smiling. "I've come for the second phase of your deliverance," he whispered, his voice low and calm. "Please, let's be quick about it." My heart stopped. I stared at him, confused, terrified. "It's time," he continued, "to cleanse your womb spiritually, with my rod." Now I understood. My blood ran cold. I sat up and told him I needed to use the bathroom. Thankfully, the toilet was outside the main building. I snatched up my phone and silently thanked God that I had stuffed my money in the inner pocket of my jeans earlier that evening. The moment I stepped out, I ran. I ran like my life depended on it, because it did. I left my bag. I left my shoes. I left everything. My name is Nancy. I got married to Kelvin in a quiet, traditional ceremony a few years ago. I was just 21, a fresh graduate. He was 30, a businessman, with charm and confidence. We met at a friend's birthday party, and from that day, it felt like the world shifted. 1 year of dating later, he proposed. I said yes without hesitation. I was hopelessly, foolishly in love. By the time we got engaged, I had already landed a job in a bank as a customer relationship officer. Everything looked perfect. Before our wedding, we went through a series of premarital counseling sessions. During one of those sessions, we were told to open up about our pasts, especially the things that might affect our future. I was scared, but I decided to tell him the truth. I was once pregnant, I told him, my voice trembling. It happened when I was 16. My ex-boyfriend denied responsibility. I didn't tell my parents. I was afraid. So my friend helped me terminate it. No one else knows. You're the second person I've ever told. Kelvin looked at me, held my hands, and said, "Thank you for trusting me. I love you, and this won't change anything." He told me he had nothing dark to confess about his own past. For the next 3 years, our marriage was beautiful, but childless. At first, it didn't matter. We were happy. But after our 4th wedding anniversary, Kelvin brought it up. "Why don't we have a child yet?" he asked. We decided to get medical tests. Just 3 days before our appointment, he traveled unexpectedly for business, so I went to the hospital alone. The tests came back clear. The doctor said I was healthy. Nothing was wrong with me. He asked me to return with my husband, but when I told Kelvin, he changed, his face twisted with anger. "Are you saying the problem is from me?" he shouted. "You know I'm a complete man. You were the one who had an abortion. Maybe you destroyed your womb. Fix your own mess. I'm not going anywhere with you." His words sliced through me. Still, I went back to the hospital. I told the doctor everything, even about the D&C I had at 16. "You're fine," he said. "Your uterus is intact. Your hormones are balanced. Medically, there's no reason you can't conceive." But Kelvin refused to return. On our 5th anniversary, my mother-in-law came to visit. She didn't come to bless the marriage. She came with venom in her mouth. "You barren woman," she screamed. "You eat my son's food, grow fat, and give. There's nothing. Give me grandchildren or leave so another woman can do what you cannot." The next morning she left, shattered and broken. I turned to the only place I thought I'd find comfort, the church. I went to Pastor Adami, the same one I had confided in 2 years before. I cried as I told him everything again. He listened, then gave me Bible verses and instructed me to begin 21 days of fasting and prayer. "Sister Nancy," he said, holding my hands, "God will bless your womb. You just need faith." I thanked him and walked out of his office. But before leaving the church, I knelt down at the altar. My tears fell freely. "Lord," I whispered, "please, even if it's just one child, please bless me." I completed the 21-day fast, just as Pastor Adami instructed. I prayed earnestly, with every ounce of faith I had, But nothing changed. No dreams, no signs, no pregnancy. I was still trying to find clarity when the ground beneath me shifted again. It was our 6th wedding anniversary. Instead of celebration, chaos came knocking. Without warning, my mother-in-law arrived at our house, unannounced, uninvited. Trailing behind her was a young woman, no older than 20. Delicate features, quiet presence. My heart skipped. Something felt off. "Come inside, my dear," my mother-in-law cooed to the girl. "This is your home now. Make yourself comfortable." I stood to greet her, still wearing my Sunday clothes. We had just come back from church, but she ignored me. Completely. "Mama, who is she?" I asked, forcing calm into my voice. Her response: "This is Ifeoma, your husband's new wife," she said with ease. "She has come to give me grandchildren, since you, this barren woman, have failed me." I felt my world tilt. Kelvin, who had been sitting beside me, wouldn't even meet. My eyes. 2 weeks earlier, he'd told me he was going to the village to check on a building project. Lies. He had gone to marry someone else. A girl his mother chose. My voice trembled. "Kelvin, say something. Is this true?" He didn't hesitate. "I'm sorry, Nancy," he said flatly, "but I want children, and I can't wait any longer." There was no regret in his voice, just finality. I fled to our bedroom and locked the door behind me. The tears came like a flood. I wept until my body ached, but Kelvin didn't knock, didn't check on me. That night, he didn't return to our bed. The next morning, I went to the kitchen early to prepare breakfast before work. Ifeoma was already there. She greeted me gently, respectfully. I responded, trying to remain composed. Before we could exchange. "More words," Mama barged in. "Why are you questioning her?" She snapped. "This is her husband's house too. She can cook whatever she likes." I greeted Mama. She ignored me. I left the kitchen and got ready for work in silence. Mama stayed for a week, and every night during that week, she ensured Kelvin slept in Ifeoma's room. He moved half of his things into her space. He acted like I didn't exist. Each night I cried myself to sleep. I stopped eating properly. My soul began to dry up inside me. Ifeoma cooked every meal, served my husband, was praised for being a good wife. Mama even told the gateman to treat her as the new madam. I was being erased from my own home. After Mama left, nothing changed. Kelvin stayed in Ifeoma's room permanently. I stopped trying. I stopped pleading. I grew silent. Oddly, Ifeoma remained respectful in those early days. She did chores. She spoke kindly, never mocked me. Then came the day that shattered whatever hope I had left. 6 weeks after she arrived, Ifeoma became pregnant. Kelvin broke the news to me with a grin on his face, mocking, triumphant. "She's carrying my child," he said. "You can be happy for us, or not. Your choice." I smiled, weakly. "Congratulations," I whispered, but inside I was breaking. The pregnancy was proof that Kelvin was slipping away forever. I had to do something, anything. I traveled to my village and met with a well-known herbalist, a woman people claimed could help even the most hopeless cases. She studied my palms carefully, then said, "Your womb is not closed, but something is blocking it." I begged her for a solution. She handed me a bundle of bitter herbs and roots, instructing me to drink them every night before bed. One special mixture, she said, must be taken during ovulation, followed by intimacy. I returned, home with a flicker of hope. I followed her instructions exactly. The taste was awful, but I forced it down. Then, when the time came, I swallowed my pride and begged Kelvin to sleep with me. He agreed, begrudgingly. Days passed, then weeks. Still, nothing. A friend later told me about a powerful prophet in a neighboring state. Desperate, I begged Kelvin to go with me. He refused. So I went alone. The journey took me to a remote prayer mountain, hidden deep within the countryside. I followed Pastor's instructions and fasted for 21 days, just as he had told me. But nothing changed. Still no sign, no pregnancy, no breakthrough, just silence. I was still clinging to a thread of hope when something unexpected happened. It was our 6th wedding anniversary. Instead of love or celebration, my mother-in-law barged into our home without warning. But this time, she wasn't alone. Right behind her was a young girl, maybe 20 years old, petite and quiet. "Come in, my dear," Mama said to her with a warm smile. "Feel at home. This is your house now." I was confused, standing in the living room beside Kelvin. I greeted Mama, but she ignored me and ushered the girl to sit. I turned to Kelvin, but he avoided my eyes. "Mama, who is she?" I asked, trying to sound calm. "This is Ifeoma," she said smugly. "Your husband's new wife. She's here to give me grandchildren, something you, a barren woman, failed to do." I felt the floor crumble beneath me. 2 weeks ago, Kelvin had gone to the village, claiming he needed to inspect his building project. But that wasn't the truth. He had gone to pay another woman's bride price, selected by his mother. I turned to him, trembling. "Kelvin, is this true?" "I'm sorry, Nancy," he said without emotion, "but I need children, and you can't give them to me." I ran into our bedroom, slammed the door, and cried like I never had before. Kelvin never came to check on me that night. He didn't sleep in our room again. The next morning, I entered the kitchen early to prepare breakfast. Ifeoma was already there. She greeted me respectfully, and I replied, even managing a smile despite the pain in my chest. But before she could say anything else, Mama entered and barked, "Why are you questioning her? This is her husband's house now." I left the kitchen quietly and got ready for work. Mama stayed for a week, and every night Kelvin slept in Ifeoma's room. He gradually moved his belongings there, acting like our marriage never existed. He introduced Ifeoma to the gateman as the new madam and instructed him to treat her like the head of the house. I cried myself to sleep every night. The woman, who once vowed to love and protect me, had turned me into a stranger in my own home. Though Ifeoma remained respectful at first, always doing her chores and speaking gently, everything changed after 6 weeks. She became pregnant. Kelvin came to me, grinning like a child, and said, "She's carrying my child. You can be happy for us, or not, I don't care." That night, I knew I was losing him completely. I decided to try again. This time, I traveled to my village and visited a well-known herbalist. She studied my palms and said something was blocking my womb. But it wasn't closed. She gave me herbs to boil and drink every night. She also gave me a bitter tonic to take during ovulation and instructed that I must sleep with my husband that night. The bitterness made me gag, but I forced it down. Then I begged Kelvin for intimacy. Just once. He agreed. Cold, mechanical, weeks. Passed, still nothing. Then someone told me about a powerful prophet in a neighboring town. I asked Kelvin to come with me. He refused, so I went alone. The journey took me to a prayer mountain, secluded and silent. The prophet welcomed me, prayed, and then told me I had a spiritual husband. I needed a 2-part deliverance, he said. First, I must bathe in a river with special soap. Second, he needed to cleanse my womb with his rod. I didn't understand at first, but I was desperate. He gave me a smelly black soap and sponge. One of his followers led me to a river where I bathed. Later, I was shown a small room to sleep in. Around midnight, I felt someone trying to undress me. I woke up and was horrified to see the prophet, half naked and smiling. "I've come for the second phase of your deliverance," he said. "Let's be fast. Your womb needs cleansing." It was then I understood his wicked plan. I sat up quickly and said I needed to use the toilet. Thankfully, it was outside the main building. I grabbed my phone, and by God's grace, I had tucked my money in the inner pocket of my trousers. As soon as I stepped out, I ran, through bushes, in the dead of night, whispering desperate prayers. By 2 a.m., I reached a major road. A small car approached and I flagged it down. The driver stopped and I told him I was in danger. He let me in. That's how I escaped. When I got home, I said nothing to Kelvin, nothing to the friend who recommended the prophet. I lied and said all went well. After Ifeoma's pregnancy became known, Kelvin pampered her endlessly. She changed. Too, she no longer greeted me with respect. She barked orders and treated me like a maid. When I complained, Kelvin snapped, "Can't you see she's pregnant? She gave me what you couldn't in 6 years." I became the house help, cooking, cleaning, running errands. I swallowed my pride and served Ifeoma just to avoid more drama. Then someone told me about a woman in a neighboring town who did womb massages. They said she had helped many conceive. I took a week off work and went. The woman, Mama Akpos, was kind but firm. Her hands were strong and the massages were painful. She muttered, "There are blockages, but don't worry, my daughter. You'll carry your child." For 3 days, I endured it all. I returned home and waited again. Still, nothing. Ifeoma's belly grew, and her pride grew with it. She walked around like a queen. One evening I overheard her say, "Nancy should just accept her fate. Some women aren't meant to be mothers." Kelvin laughed and added, "She keeps drinking all those concoctions. She should just rest." I stood frozen, invisible in my own home. The man who once swore to love me forever was now mocking me. I ran to my room and cried. Again. Then Ifeoma gave birth to a baby boy. Kelvin named him Favor. His joy was overflowing, and I was genuinely happy for him, even through my pain. On the 8th day, Mama came for Omugwo. She stayed for 3 months, the worst 3 months of my life. She criticized everything I did. He called me names. Nothing was ever good enough. I bore it all without telling anyone in my family. One afternoon, Ifeoma walked into my room and saw me crying. She didn't ask what was wrong. Instead, she said coldly, "I don't know why you're still here. You've been replaced. Pack your things and leave." She walked out before I could respond. I whispered to the empty room, "I will only leave when Kelvin sends me away." Kelvin only came to me when it pleased him, and after a while, even that stopped. He claimed he was tired of wasting his seed on a woman who couldn't conceive. His words shattered me, but fear of judgment and being labeled barren kept me from leaving. I prayed, begged, visited herbalists and so-called prophets, enduring shame and pain, all to become a mother. Meanwhile, Ifeoma, the woman my husband brought, home and married behind my back, got pregnant and mocked me along with him. Then 2 years after her son Favor was born, Kelvin fell ill and was diagnosed with gonorrhea and azoospermia, meaning he had no sperm and could never have fathered a child. The truth exploded when a DNA test revealed Favor wasn't his. Ifeoma confessed he was the child of her village lover Chudi, and that she had also been sleeping with our gateman, Okon. Kelvin was crushed, and his mother came to take Ifeoma and the boy away in shame. Afterward, Kelvin begged me to stay, promising treatment, asking for forgiveness, but I had been through too much. I reminded him how he had broken me, blamed me, and pushed me to the edge, and told him I was done. I left, got my own place, and rebuilt my life. A year later, I met Deola, a kind man who loved me despite my past, and we got married. That same month I conceived. I wept with joy when I saw the result, whispered to my unborn child that she was my miracle, and 9 months later gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Deola treats me with love and respect, and 5 years on, I live in peace. I recently heard Kelvin remarried, but is still childless. I hold no grudge. I only pray he finds healing. As for me, I have finally found happiness, and that is all I ever wanted.